The Ballad of Snakes and Spreadsheets, How Lionsgate Looked at Katniss, Saw a Cash Cow, and Turned Dystopian Satire into a merch drop. You feel that greasy, glitter-slicked thumbprint right on your soul, don't you? That's the Capitol pressing a limited edition Mockingjay pin directly into your sternum while whispering, "Darling, the Rebellion is on sale for $39.99. Watching The Hunger Games in 2012 felt like biting into a poisoned apple, sour, sharp, and revolutionary. You walked out of the theater with your fists clenched, ready to overthrow the bourgeoisie, or at least unsubscribe from cable. A decade later, Lionsgate is standing over the corpse of that idea, wearing a golden suit, doing a little tap dance, and asking if you'd like to pre-order the 4K steelbook of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes while they calculate the tax write-off on Rue's legacy. The franchise started as a Molotov cocktail thrown at the face of reality TV and consumer gluttony, and somehow, through the magic of late-stage capitalism, it has become the very thing it swore to destroy. It's not just irony. It's a snake eating its own tail, vomiting up merchandise, and then asking for a standing ovation. Let's rewind to the blood-soaked, pollen-choked fields of the first film. That was cinema as a gut punch. Gary Ross shot District 12 like a tuberculosis ward, gray, desperate, with coal dust permanently fused into the pores of every extra. When Katniss volunteered for Prim, it wasn't heroic. It was a nervous system short-circuiting. The game makers weren't villains. They were the HR department of hell. And the cornucopia? A violent, pornographic explosion of stuff, backpacks, knives, glowing silver bows, all designed to make poor kids slaughter each other for the sin of wanting a tent. That was the thesis. You are not a person. You are content. You are not a citizen. You are a consumer. And the audience in the Capitol, with their blue wigs and poisoned champagne, were just a funhouse mirror reflection of us sitting on our couches, eating Cheetos, and rating child trauma on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. It was brutal. It was correct. And for about 15 minutes, Hollywood was terrified of itself. Then the machine woke up. By the time Catching Fire hit, the satire was already sweating under the hot lights of franchise expectations. That beautiful, haunting scene where Katniss twirls in a wedding dress that turns into a mockingjay? Visceral. But somewhere in the editing bay, a marketing executive smelled a t-shirt. The revolution stopped being a political statement and became an aesthetic. Suddenly, you couldn't scroll through Tumblr without seeing "If we burn, you burn with us" printed on a tote bag made in a sweatshop. The movies started looking like perfume commercials for despair. Francis Lawrence took over the director's chair, and the grime got a high-definition polish. The sewers of District 12 became moody, the fire became CGI ballets, and Jennifer Lawrence's tears were so beautifully lit that you almost forgot she was crying because a child was speared on live television. Almost. But the rot was already in the apple core. The studio, Lionsgate, that glorious little engine that could, realized they weren't selling a warning. They were selling a franchise. And a franchise needs stuff. Here is the beautiful, grotesque punchline. The Hunger Games is now a reality show about selling you the Hunger Games. Lionsgate didn't just distribute the movie. They became the game makers. They built the arena. The arena is your local Target. Walk into any big box store during a sequel release and you will find the Pan Am collection, eyeshadow palettes named District 4 Seafoam, candles that smell like roasted pears and ashes, Funko Pops of Foxface with that dead, soulless vinyl stare. They are selling you the iconography of a fascist state as home decor. You can buy a replica of the pin that symbolizes the death of a child for $12.99. You can drink from a "May the odds be ever in your favor" coffee mug while scrolling through Instagram reels of actual war zones. The line between Capitol voyeur and suburban mom isn't just blurred. It's been erased by a corporate credit card. And now, 10 years later, they have dug up the corpse of Pan Am. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes isn't a prequel. It's a resurrection for profit. It's a zombie lurching out of the grave wearing a brand new suit from H&M. The marketing campaign for that film was a masterclass in dystopian cognitive dissonance. They released Capital Couture fashion editorials. They did tie-ins with fast food chains. They asked us to feel sorry for a young Coriolanus Snow, a literal fascist architect, because he had a crush and a tight budget. The movie itself is fine, a weird, sweaty fever dream about a terrible blonde man learning to be terrible, but the context is radioactive. You are watching a movie produced by the very system the original movie condemned about how the system produces the movie you are watching. It's like if Network became a sitcom on NBC. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a bread knife and serve it with cheese. The first film had a scene where Seneca Crane is forced to eat poisoned berries because he fucked up the ratings. Lionsgate, meanwhile, has no such problem. They are feeding us those same berries, but they've dipped them in chocolate and charged $18 for the Tribute Experience popcorn bucket. They know we know. They're counting on it. That wink to the camera, "We're evil, isn't that fun?" is the most potent drug in Hollywood right now. We aren't watching the movies for the moral anymore. We're watching to see how beautifully the studio self-immolates. Katniss shot an arrow at the force field, and the force field sent her a cease and desist letter. Don't pretend you're clean. You bought the shirt. You have the poster. You argued on Reddit about whether Gale was toxic while Amazon delivered a box of District 12 coal-scented soap to your door. We are all residents of the Capitol now, clapping our hands raw as the next movie, steps into the ring. The difference is that the original tributes had no choice. We do. We just like the merch too much to say no. So, Lionsgate wins. They always win. The games don't end. The games just get a higher budget and a post-credit scene. You thought Katniss won? Please. The victor is a boardroom full of men in gray suits who looked at a story about the horror of child exploitation and said, "Great IP, let's make a theme park attraction." They have turned your empathy into an asset. Rue's death is a thumbnail on a YouTube ad. The Mockingjay is a logo. And 10 years from now, when they reboot this whole damn thing with a CGI Katniss and a soundtrack by an AI, you will still pay to see it. Not because it's good, but because the silence in the theater is too loud and the popcorn is salty. And for 2 hours, you get to pretend you aren't cheering for the machine that is eating your own attention span. May the odds be ever in your favor, consumer. You're going to need it.